It's a lovely morning and warm welcome to the program. Only Ario is my name. The first essential component of social and economic justice is adequate food production. Even if a nation cannot send customers to the moon, it should be able to feed a population. Only then can it occupy a place of pride in a community of nations. Nigeria is a country richly blessed with abundant natural and human resources that, if properly harnessed, can feed its people and export the surpluses to the other countries. Yet, it is experiencing persistent food crises, both in terms of quantity and quality. The food intake requirements of majority of Nigerians have fallen far below the international standard. So as the world marks Food Day today, we are looking at how we can actually achieve food sufficiency. My guest is already here. We'll take a break now. When we'll come back, what's the grand runner, please, to stay with us. If I just join us, the program is Today's Business, and today we're taking a look at how we can actually achieve food sufficiency as the world also marks World Food Day today. And how would me to do justice to it, I have Mr. Oluwatobi Olayemi, Project Manager for Scaling Up Public Investment in Agriculture with Justice Development and Peace Center, JDPC. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
It's a pleasure for me to be here this morning. Thank you for having me on the show this morning, sir.
In my intro, I also said that we have a lot of natural and human resources to actually produce what we can eat in Nigeria. And as we speak today, about 31 million Nigerians are said to be facing hunger. How do we react to that?
That's the reality that we are facing in Nigeria today. Even though if we probe further with that statistics, we will see that it has gone beyond that 31 million. All because, people are being faced with inflation. So inadequate food production, which is, lowering the productivity of farmers who are doing the job at the rural communities, are not having, the buoyancy, the resources, the ability and the motivation, to go on with this. And that's why we're having shortage of food supply in the country today. So, and another thing is that, the hike in the fuel price has caused a lot of things. It has caused a lot of disruption in the economy of Nigeria today, because you will see that those right from the farm to the market and for consumption, they have been playing critical roles. And because they don't have the enabling power, you understand me?
Exactly, I was about to ask you that. Even despite this huge number that I've also mentioned into farming,
yes, sir,
we still find it extremely difficult to feed ourselves.
Yes, yes. And that is why I'm saying that despite the fact that these women constituted 70% of the smallholder farmers in Nigeria, because they have little resources to make the reality happen in terms of production. You understand now? And that's why often at times you will see that when you talk about, farmers groups in the states or the federation at large, you will see women taking the larger percentage, all because of their dominance in the agricultural space and in terms of food production specifically. You understand me now? But because they have no resources, and when we talk about resources, we talk about inadequate access to land, control and utilization. So that's one of it. And also, there's no adequate financial scheme to let these women expand their productivity. So now, tell me, from their farm to the market, there's no good road network. So these are affecting. And sometimes they don't have the adequate knowledge at the right time to plant. And that's why we are calling for extension services. That it is high time that the government look down deep to upskill the extension service support in terms of giving technical advices to these women, because the weather is changing. We're having climate change effects every now and then. Part of the monitoring we conducted, because we support smallholder women farmers. So part of the monitoring we conducted to a farm precisely in Ijare, in the federal local government. So that woman was telling us that she has planted maize 3 times this year, and she couldn't realize 10 naira out of it.
Why?
Because there was drought, absence of rainfall. So I didn't mean there's a support. Do you understand? Like the one that NIMET is doing. NIMET, they provide support in terms of weather forecasts.
But with the level of education, do you think they also they already disposed to that kind of education?
Yes, of course. They are, always. And even though the Ministry of Agriculture have been training them in diverse ways, and these women, they are ready to learn. And that is why it is very critical that when extension agents or officers are being adequately trained, to train others will be so much easy. But someone that is not trained, how do you want him or her to offer something he does not have? You can only offer what you have. It is what you have that you can give to others adequately, in a way whereby that person will be able to understand, that person will be able to make use of it adequately.
Education is also part of the reasons why we are not getting enough food to eat.
So it's part of it, and that's why we're talking about the extension service support. It's inadequate because even aside from the fact that it's not inadequate, it's not adequate, we even have short personnel. That is insufficient personnel in the extension agents. The extension department. Do you understand now? And also, we call it remuneration, whereby that will support them to go to hard-to-reach communities in the rural areas whereby most of the farmers are domiciled. Are you getting me, sir? So when there is no support, because we could remember that over the years, government usually allocates money for purchase of motorcycle that will convey this extension agent to the farmers in their
remote areas.
Do you understand now? But now it's no longer available.
Before now, our fathers were also practicing farming, and we also had enough to eat at that time. And now that we have education, we also have equipment to do it. I think this is the time to also produce more.
Yes, you will see that the population of Nigeria is increasing day by day. As I'm talking to you, we are over 200 million. So, and when you compare now and the time of our fathers, you will see that we have a wide gap, in the sense that you will see that our population is not as it is now too. And then they are practicing peasant farming. It's so easy for them to produce the food they will consume with their own family. Are you getting me now? Now that we're having diversification everywhere, that people are looking for white-collar job, and people are beginning to forget, agriculture. Do you understand? Because they feel like agriculture takes time before you can make your money. It's not something you can just eat and run. It's a gradual process. You have to exercise patience. You have to be studious. You have to, make your research and be hard work. You have to be resilient. Do you understand now? So it has now reduced people practicing farming. Why population? The number of people is increasing day by day, and that is why the food we are producing is not enough, because of some of the factors I've highlighted earlier, like when those who are producing the large chunk of food we consume as a nation, they are not being supported adequately.
But this is not also peculiar to Nigeria. When you take a look at the statistics we also getting from the World Bank, 733 million people are also facing hunger in the world.
And thank you so much. Do you understand? So I will just permit me to go down to the memory lane. So this World Food Day that we are celebrating or acknowledging today, every 16th of October in each year, started with United Nations, an organization that promotes peace in the world. And they have a department that's, that is in charge of agriculture, and we call them FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. Is a department under the United Nations that focuses on agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
So they started this exactly in 1979. You understand? And ever since then, and the purpose of this World Food Day is purposely to raise awareness about hunger, food security, healthy food and nutritious meals, so that it should be available for people. But despite the fact that awareness, sensitization keeps on going, we still have millions of people who are still suffering of hunger today. Nigeria is not exempted. You understand now? And that's why I think that it is very important for us as a nation, even peculiar to us in Ondo State, to celebrate this thing. It's a day that we should call for reflection, to see what we have been doing, where we have gaps. Do you understand? What can we do better towards ensuring food security? Because when you talk about essentiality of life, when we talk about air and water, the next is a need. It's something that we cannot do without, because when there is no food, there cannot be nation. When there is no nation, it shows that there is no food. And that's why, like we usually say, if you want to see an angry man, don't give him food. Do you understand?
Let's look at the objective of the World Food Day is to encourage and support a sustainable food system. How do you think we can boost agricultural productivity?
Thank you. Boosting agricultural productivity, I will start this way, that it's a collective effort. So we are all stakeholders in as much as we eat. It shows that we are all stakeholders in promoting agricultural development and sustainability of it, both at the nation and the state at large. Now, I give us instances. Over time, we think that when we are talking about stakeholders, we always talk about government. We, the people, also, we are stakeholders. And that's why from our own end, we need to contribute. And what are the little ways? Is that, one of the ways is that we must not forget that what we have been using to sustain, to feed ourselves as a nation before the discovery of oil happens to be agriculture. So which means that when we trace it back to history, it's possible that our fathers today, they have been emanated from a family that practice agriculture, which means that we have to go back to agriculture, because we have vast land, arable land.
But it's not also appealing to the young ones.
Yes, we are still coming there, sir. Because we have vast land, we have arable land, billions of hectares available for planting, for farming. But the issue is that when there is no policy that can promote enabling sustainable agriculture, it begins to affect.
Is it because there's no policy, or we are not also following the policies?
One, even though I can say that we don't have the policy. Currently, in Ondo State, as I'm talking to you, the policy we are still using in the agriculture sector was the one produced in 2005. Last week, Friday, thank God for the present administration validation meeting for the agriculture policy. Do you understand? I was part of them. So we are there together with the permanent secretaries, directors, even though people from the academia, they were there with us. We are reviewing the policy so that it will be able to meet up with the standard of the current reality.
So what are the issues wrong with this current policy we are running in those states?
Now, the current policy we are running in the state is that it does not promote social inclusion.
Okay.
Do you understand? That's one. And also, little bit does it focus on agribusiness. We must begin to see agri as a business now. Do you understand now? But we just see it as something we can just practice on a low level. So if we must return our economy back to shape, then we must not do without the development of agriculture. Do you understand? Which means that we have the enabling environment. One of it is the security issue, access to land, control and utilization, extension services. They are working, they are delivering their job adequately and in a quality means or way. That's that. And also, we have this water, you know, because the climate is changing, and when the rain is falling, then the government also should be able to support in terms of trying to preserve water. Do you understand now? Because you will see that the more we experience rain, the more, you know, heat that we experience, which means that the land dries so fast. Are you getting me now, sir? So research and development, it's very essential. Youth in agriculture, because so many youths are just walking, roaming about.
Are the youth interested?
Because the youth are interested, but they need support in terms of financial support and land accessibility. Because I have some youths around us that we are working with. So one of them even ran on loss because of the rainfall that happened, you know, I think last month precisely, eroded all his tomato farm away. Do you understand now? So in such a situation, you know, hadn't been there support now, he can continue. He was devastated. He was destabilized. And that's what we are talking about. But which means that if he has access to land, if there is financial support, I'm not saying that you should give money anyhow to, just give out to anyhow people. Because there are some youths that will come all in the name of practicing farming, but they are not real farmers. Are you getting me, sir? So we must even identify them, follow them to their, okay, it's possible that, okay, what do you want to use the money for? We want to use it to buy equipment. We want to use it to buy, you know, farm input. It is better not to give them the money. Help them purchase it from their vendor and give it to them. Let them use it for what they want to use it for. And after they must have harvested, realize their profit, then they can return the money. And the profit becomes theirs, which means that it has improved their livelihood in one way or the other.
If you go to various markets, especially around here now, you discover that the food prices have increased by 37.5%.
Which is outrageous.
As a project manager for scaling up public investment in agriculture,
yes, sir,
what can be done to ensure that the prices of food items also come down?
And that's why, I was thinking, the government, when he realized that things like this, I thought for government to begin to bring a regulatory body that will be able to regulate prices of commodity in the market. It's a pity that aside from the fact that, government is making policy that is now affecting the masses, even though we, the citizens, we are not helping the government as well.
How?
We are not helping the government. People take laws into their hand because they've been able to see that the government is not making adequate follow-up. In terms of prices of commodity, there's no regulatory bodies. People are just taking laws into their hand, doing things the way they like. And that's why you can see that when you get to market A, something you can purchase for 15 naira, you can get to market B, they'll call it for you 70 naira. 15 naira, you still have to transport yourself. And that person selling it for 15 naira, and the other person selling it for 70 naira, they bought it at the same price. Do you understand? Because there's no regulatory body that will checkmate the prices of commodities in the market. People are beginning to incur more pain to their fellow citizens when we know that things are not getting really shaped in the country presently. So, and that I think it's one of the ways that government needs to look into so that they can begin to consider taking people out of this hardship we are facing currently in the country.
The theme of this year's World Food Day is food for a better life and a better future.
Yes.
What's your take on this?
Yes, thank you so much. Like you said, right to food, for a better life and a better future. It then means that right to food shows that every one of us will have right to eat. So the connectivity of eating is because it helps us to grow. It expands our life. If you lock someone for days in a room and not giving him food, if care is not taken, that person may die. Are you getting me? Which shows that we have rights to food. And for us to talk about better life, then we must be able to eat healthy and nutritious meals.
So how do we now eat healthy when we cannot produce enough?
And that is why aside from the fact that I'm the project manager for scaling up public investment in agriculture, I'm also the project manager for SPAC West Africa. We call that SPAC West Africa Strategic Partnership for Agroecology and Climate Justice. So what this project is promoting, because with our main target are women, because of their large numbers in the production sector. I mean, in the crop sector. Do you understand now? So I mean, value chain. So what we've been doing is that, as I'm talking to you, we've been able to train 14,500 women farmers between last year and this year on agroecology. Agroecology is the use of natural way of farming without the use of chemicals. Do you understand now? So the use of chemicals are beginning to affect the health of the people. You see numerous diseases emanating in people's life today, all because of the chemicals being added to the food we are consuming. Let me give you this instance. I could remember, is it at the beginning of this year, I had one vegetable. Immediately I finished eating that vegetable. Under 2 hours, I began to purge for days. And on the long run, I discovered that it was because of the chemical that was added to it. Do you understand? Which indirectly is becoming poison to our food. And that's why we took it upon ourselves that we need to begin to train women farmers to learn how to produce their food without the use of chemicals. So by so doing, you will see that it will increase the nutritious value of that.
What is yield? Because some of them also use fertilizer because of they want to get
bountiful harvest. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So now fowl dungs, the chicken dungs, we call it manure. Do you understand? That of pigs, that of rabbits, that of what's it called, goats. Do you understand now? Do you know that